Shekoli and welcome back to my channel. Yugutsununi here. My own identity, meaning she's happy. My English name is Kathleen, and today you're in for the Native American tag. And so I'm gonna go through the series of 11 questions that I received from this tag, and I'm gonna link the creator below that I saw her video, and that's why I'm doing this tag. So I've been on this journey of finding more Native YouTubers and Native content creators, and I'm really excited to do this tag, and hopefully you learn a little bit more about me. And you, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, and yeah, I'll just get into the video. I challenged that question, and I'm asking, like, what are you trying to achieve? Do you want to know if, like, I have any mixed ancestry? Because this idea of, like, full-blooded is an ideal to me. You know, there's always been some intermixing among nations and with colonizers, like, not by choice, sometimes by force. And so with this question, like yes, I am, because both my parents are from my nation. I don't have any other relatives that are outside of my nation, so I'm Oneida, and both my parents are Oneida, and Oneida is part of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. But yeah, I'm just interested in terms of what they were trying to achieve with that question. If they wanted to talk about if you were mixed or whatnot, and what that, because that gives a unique set of circumstances. So I was also talking about how my community is really close by to two other communities, Anishinaabe community and Lenape community, and so there's a lot of intermixing, and so we do have some, they're called bridge babies, so because there's a bridge that connects my community and the other community, and so if you have, like, parents on either side of the bridge, then you're called a bridge baby. So I'm in the upper part of Turtle Island, which is, like, colonially Canada, and that like, my tribe will use First Nation, so my First Nation affiliation would be Oneida Nation of the Thames. So I think that's a really interesting question as well. Like, I'm like, what are you trying to get out of there? Like, I do have some traditional values and beliefs, but I think a lot of Indigenous people don't have the opportunity to have those, and haven't had the opportunities to relearn and reclaim those traditional traditions and beliefs. So that idea of, like, being non-traditional, I don't know if it's a choice or if it's, like, of circumstance. So that's, like, my kind of question. So I'd be, like, kind of like a mix, because I'm still learning. Like, I guess maybe they want to know if you go to ceremonies, and, like, now that, like, we've had the pandemic, we're not, like, able to gather in large groups, so I haven't been able to. But the whole idea behind, like, a lot of my nation's teachings are, like, giving thanks and being grateful, and you know, doing a lot of that stuff independently. So we are able to still do that. So I guess I would say I'm more spiritual than, like, traditional or non-traditional. I wish it was a tribe that people thought I was, but they're like, oh, are you Vietnamese, or are you Asian? Like, I've never really gotten, like, oh, you're this kind of native. I got, like, maybe some Cree or, like, Anishinaabe, because they'd be like, oh, you remind me of my auntie, and, like, and they're sometimes from those backgrounds. So number 5, which tribe do you embrace the most? So I don't know what that means by embrace the most. I mean, maybe if you're mixed, and you like, maybe if I moved to another area that had another nation doing stuff. But I would say I embrace my own community and First Nation the most. So I think, like, I don't know, like, I didn't have different tribes, so that question doesn't really apply to me. But it was more like, if we want to talk about, like, Western and, like, Christianity and those impacts on my life and how they affected things, and how especially, like, social media, like, there's so many different ways that you could take this. So maybe I should let me know if you'd want to see a different video where I kind of, like, ask these questions but in a different way, kind of how I would ask them. But yeah, in terms of, like, growing up with different tribes, like, I mean, if we're talking about the neighboring communities, like we didn't really get exposed to being in school with them until high school. So even then, it was yes, if the time and the place is right. So if I'm going to ceremonies, then I would wear a ribbon skirt. I know how to make ribbon skirts, but I haven't made like a full outfit for myself yet, and I want to learn how to do that, and I want to do that. Like maybe that's what I'll set one of my goals is for 2020, to get back into sewing, because I was like 2 years ago I was really big into it, and I made a bunch of skirts. But yeah, anytime I do like a water ceremony, if we do water walking, or if I go to Longhouse, or if I go to powwows, like those are all times where I'll use my I'll wear my ribbon skirt that I've made. From Oneida, my Oneida specifically, Oneida Nation Thames, I don't know of any like famous people. I know there we have like a well-known dancer, Montana Summers, and he danced in Toronto, and he's well known in that area. And but in terms of like just being Oneida, like there's one like I believe he's from Six Nations, but he's Oneida, and that's Graham Greene. And so if you've seen him on Wind Talker, no, that's Hudson Beach. Graham Greene has been in a bunch of films, and I'll try like put a list up here once I Google it. But yeah, so Graham Greene is Oneida, and he is from Six Nations, but he's still like Oneida, so I'm gonna claim him. So that's one that I thought was interesting, because like Haudenosaunee people, we don't have powwows. Like I know there are some communities like Salamanca, which is like the Seneca people, and like Ganawagit has a powwow, but they're more like community events rather than like traditional powwows in a sense, because like to my knowledge, like Haudenosaunee people, we have social dances, and we don't have powwows in that same way that Anishinaabe people do, or other communities do. Oh, I love this question. There is so many things that make being Native American beautiful. Oh, did I say that right? Like our worldview is probably like the biggest thing that makes me just like in awe of like how beautiful like it is, how we see the world, and how we know that everything has like a place and everything has a purpose, and like it just like it's so uplifting, and how like all the teachings that we have, and like that to me is just like the most beautiful thing, and how awesome it is to see our community still survive after generation 500 years of genocide of our people. So it's like, to me, that's the most beautiful thing, is like our existence, our worldview, our traditions, our culture, our language. Like those to me are just like fill my heart and just like make it all warm on the inside. And yeah, that's my answer to that question. Basically everything about being Native American. So this is based probably for creators in America. So we don't have Native American Heritage Month. I want to say, is that in June or is that October? I don't know. But we have Solidarity Day here, and Solidarity Day is in June. It's June 21st. It's the summer solstice, and so I feel like it's a good opportunity to talk about it. But I as a teacher, as someone who works in a school, like we always have exams that day, so it's not like I get to celebrate that anyways. Like it's like we still have to be doing work. Like I don't get the holiday. Like it's not like where I know for the holiday in October, Indigenous Peoples Day, they like it's like a closed holiday in some states. So I wish that it could evolve and go on about that, but I also think we don't need to confine talking about Indigenous issues and Indigenous experiences to one day. I think we need to do that often and a lot more than we have been, and I think by putting it into a month or putting it into a day, like it kind of limits the conversations that we can have and who, when, and how we should be having them. So I think it really needs to be opened up to a wider conversation. But I think it's a good thing. It's a good start, but we need to keep going and do more. And then so the creator of the tag is ThatOodhamGirl, and so if I can find her channel, I'll link her below as well. And then yeah, so and as the end of the video, if you liked this video, let me know by liking and subscribing, and we will see you in the next one. Nagiwa, bye.